Well, hello and welcome to this session on best practices to be adopted in respect of online speech contests. Since the pandemic has kept all of us indoors, we are actually being forced to conduct online Toastmaster meetings using either the Zoom or other virtual platforms. As a Toastmaster for over a decade now, I have come to an understanding that without contests, a Toastmaster cycle isn't complete. Thus, it has become imperative that the contests need to be conducted starting from the club level, moving on to the division level during the first half of the Toastmasters year. Thus, in order to make the process of conducting online speech contests easier, I am here to present a session to you all with regard to the best practices that can be adopted to make this contest season comprising of humorous and evaluation contests a grand success, akin to the in-person speech contests. So here we go. Well, let's begin this session with a look in about the preparation and technology. The first and foremost thing which we need to do is to familiarize ourselves with the platform which we are going to use, whether we're going to use Zoom or we're going to use WebEx or we're going to use MS Teams or we're going to use Google or Skype, XYZ. Familiarize yourselves with the platform ahead of the contest. That's the first thing we need to do. And once we are familiarized, make sure that you create a meeting moderator position. Basically, who is responsible for setting up the meeting and handling all of the technologies. He is the person, he is a go-to person who knows everything under the sun about that specific virtual platform. So pick a guy or a person, a Toastmaster who can handle the entire technology. Also draw for speaking order that promotes fairness. All right. Because in in-person meetings, we put lots and we can pick it up, but online, what do? I found this fantastic website called www.wheelofnames.com, where you can enter the names and spin the wheel and it will pick out the speaking order. You can try it out. Again, I repeat, it's www.wheelsofnames.com. Then the necessary forms may be sent to the contestants and contest officials well in advance. Make sure that if the contest is on a Saturday, it is sent the previous Saturday to that contest officials and the contestants so that they fill it up and you get it back before the contest begins. All right. Also have contestants sign and submit the speaker's certification of eligibility and originality ahead of your contest, which is very important. Make sure that, again, if the contests are on a Saturday, that you get all the paperwork done by the end of Thursday, so that on Friday you have a buffer and you're ready for the contest. Don't wait till the date of the contest. Since it's online, it can create a lot of fiascos. So make sure that you do it well in advance. So you can look at it, a recap at what I said. Going on, do the eligibility check on each contestant to confirm that they are eligible to compete. Again, I repeat, do the eligibility check on each contestant to confirm that they are eligible to compete. You can use the eligibility checker, which is available in toastmasters.org. Then also ensure that the contestants are fulfilled the education requirements, if any, to participate in the speech contest. Since it is going to be humorous and evaluation, there is no specific education requirements that need to be fulfilled. It is just a contestant needs to be a member in good standing of a club in good standing. That is all. All right. If it is international speech contest, yes, you have to complete 6 CC projects, or in the pathways manual levels 1 and 2 to be qualified for the international speech contest. For the table topics, again, it is a member in good standing of a club in good standing. All right. Then make sure all contest officials and role players arrive at least 45 to 60 minutes before the contest begins for technology setup and troubleshooting. Do not come in at the last moment and say, I know it all. Again, I'm telling you, this is an online contest, so make sure that you arrive at least 45 to 1 hour early to check things out so that nothing goes wrong when the contest is in session. Audience members can drop into the contest, can come inside the contest 15 to 30 minutes in advance. Make sure that you people don't come in during the contest. All right. Make sure that everybody is packed. And I would say let the meeting be locked so that there's no unnecessary entry from the contestants. Right. That's one thing. So you can. It's a recap. You can go through it now. Moving on, also the webcams of judges need to remain off during the entire contest in order to maintain anonymity. All right. So the chief judge will instruct the voting judges on entry to not on their cameras and also keep themselves muted at all the times. Before the contest begins, have a moderator ensure that all contestants and contest officials are present. Make sure that the moderator has a list in hand and calls out the role players one by one and does a tick manually and says, okay, everybody are inside. All right, don't take anything for granted in an online contest. Be very sure. Well, then next is contestants and contest officials may be shown on camera during the contest. So if I'm a contestant, I can be shown on camera, role players can be shown on camera, the chief judge can also be shown on camera. All right. And the contest officials like contest master, contest chair, timer, all can be shown on camera. Well, if you are using breakout rooms during your contest, especially for evaluation contestants, ballot counters or protests, make sure that the platform keeps the communications in the breakout room anonymous. And if you choose to leave the chat function on during the contest, you may want to designate a team member to moderate the chat. Otherwise, just imagine a contestant is speaking in full flow and then he finds a chat coming on. That can be distractive. All right. So I would suggest that during the contest, when the contest is in vogue, please switch off the chat. All right. And have an alternate method of chatting amongst the role players. Maybe you can use WhatsApp apart from the Zoom. All right. Also use the judges' ballots as prescribed by TMI. Next, let's look at how to communicate during the contest. All right. Ensure that all contestants and contest officials have the chief judge's information. That is important. Create a timer chat containing both timers. The both timers can have a chat. Apart from Zoom or any other virtual platform, they can have it on WhatsApp maybe. Ensure the timers have the chief judge's information for submitting timer sheets. That's important. Ensure that all judges have the information of the ballot counters to be able to submit their ballots. All this needs to be done at least a day prior to the contest, the introductions, so that they know what is happening. It is not at the last moment that introduction should happen. In a virtual world, all hell will break loose if it is done in the last moment. Always finish your planning and preparation one day before the contest. Again, I repeat, please do it one day before the contest. Moving on, create a ballot counting chat containing chief judge and all ballot counters. So it's very simple. Today we have groups left, right and center. You can create a group in WhatsApp for ballot counting, which will include the ballot counters and the chief judge. Ensure the tie-breaking judge only has contact with the chief judge and remains anonymous. All right. It is the duty and responsibility of the contest chief judge to make sure this happens. Be prepared to create a protest chat containing chief judge and all voting judges should a protest be lodged, and this could also be a breakout room in the online meeting platform you are using, but should only be accessed by invitation from the meeting moderator. All right. So make sure that during a protest there is a breakout room where only the voting judges and the chief judge are present, nobody else. Going on further, expect online contests to take longer time than an in-person contest. Always plan, if you're planning for 2 hours, make sure that you have a buffer zone of at least 30 to 45 minutes in an online contest. Make that buffer available. All right. If your agenda comes to 2 hours and 15 minutes, keep the agenda for 3 hours. If you finish at 2 hours 15 minutes, fantastic. If it escalates beyond 2 hours 15 minutes, you have that buffer to cover that extension. Right? Use some instant messaging service as the primary form of communication. Do not rely on the chat of Zoom, but have some primary form like WhatsApp for the role players to chat and pass on information. All participants should change their display name for the meeting. The chief judge, contest chair, timers and contestants should rename as role player plus name. For example, contestant, you can type contestant with a humor or evaluation, or humor and evaluation, and put the name. For example, you can put as contestant humor hyphen Chaitanya. That can be used. Or it can be contestant evaluation hyphen Rajiv Nambiar. Like that, you please make sure that the contestants and the role players rename themselves in a meeting. All right. Kindly note, judges and ballot counters should remain anonymous, as I always told you. Here it is again for you, everything. How to rename yourselves, how it is done, how the judges, voting judges and the ballot counters should remain anonymous. That's important. Let us see how the contest chair and what the contest chair and chief judge needs to do. The contest chair and chief judge must always have backup contest officials, judges, ballot counters, in case contest officials lose connection partway through the contest. When I say extra officials, it can be extra timers, extra ballot counters, and the chief judge can have 2 extra voting judges. For example, in the club level and the area level and the division level, it is 5 judges and then 7 judges. All right. So just make sure that you have, during the club level, you have 5 plus 2 judges. Extra 2. Go with 7 judges. In case 1 judge or 2 judge falls out, you have the bare minimum which is required for a contest at 5. All right. I'm just giving you an example of 5 plus 2. You can take even 5 plus 5. Even keep 10 judges. It's up to the chief judge to take forward. But minimum is always 5. So always be ready for any kind of calamity which happens during a contest. All right. So have extra officials with you. Determine the process for protests in advance and communicate this process with all who need to be aware. Okay, how, if in case a protest comes, where we go, whether we will have a separate Google chat outside or a WhatsApp chat, or we will move into a breakout room, all that needs to be made sure that it is communicated by the chief judge to all the voting judges at least one day in advance. Otherwise there will be confusion. When briefing judges, share things they need to keep in mind for an online contest. So what are the things? When a speech is on, the judges should not time the speech. Correct? They should not be timing the speech. So make sure that in an in-person meeting as well as in an online meeting, no timing of speeches, and the halo effect, the reverse halo effect, all this kind of things can be inculcated once again or reiterated to the voting judges by the chief judge. Judging criteria remains the same. Judges should adhere to the items outlined in the judge's guide and ballot, just as they would in an in-person contest. Judges should not take into consideration a contestant's audio or video quality. Should technology issues occur to a degree that hinders the contest, the chief judge can make the decision to stop the contest and resume when the issues are resolved. I would like to repeat again. Should technology issues occur to a degree that hinders the contest, the chief judge can make the decision to stop the contest and resume when the issues are resolved. Again, the chief judge can. It is the discretion of the chief judge. Don't go to him and say, you better do it. It's a discretion of the chief judge. All right. Chief judges are all nice people. They will definitely help you. Ensure you are aware of any accommodations that need to be made for contestants who have a disability. Speak with them in advance about the accommodations for things like timing signals, etc. Ensure that they have the opportunity to practice with any alternate signaling methods. All right. The contest chair should set a standard speaking position for all contestants and communicate this to the judges and sergeant-at-arms. What does this mean is that make sure that the lighting, the camera is positioned well, all that has to take into care. So there should be a standard procedure followed while doing an online contest. Whether knee up should be visible, or there should be light from the front of the webcam and not from the back of the contestants. All the small nitty-gritties needs to be checked out. Meet with the timers in advance of the contest to agree on the practice and method of communication for indicating when each minute of silence has concluded. What is the way? Red card, green card, whichever. Confirm speech titles with the contestants in advance of the contest. So all this need to be made at least one day in advance when you do a dry run. Make sure that even if it's a club, you guys do a dry run. Right? Ensure contestants know how to notify the contest chair if there is a speech title change. That's important. Try to create a group for contestants in WhatsApp with the contest chair. Anything is there that is communicated there. Right? Practice name and speech title pronunciation with contestants as necessary. Introduce each contestant at the appropriate time. It is the contestant's responsibility to show up for the contest in time. If a contestant does not show up for the contest, allow a reasonable amount of time for them to begin. Be reasonable, at least give them 1 or 2 minutes. If they do not begin, introduce the next contestant. All right. Now for the contestants, after the contest chair introduce the contestant should enable their microphone and camera, then say ready, indicating that the equipment is working. That does not count as the start of their time. Timers, please note, if the person on his microphone, opens his video and then looks into the video and says ready, this does not count as a start of their time. Right? Start comes when the contest chair or the contest master introduces the contestant. Contestant number 5, Rajiv Nambiar. Life is beautiful. Life is beautiful, Rajiv Nambiar. And then if the contestant says start, then you start the timer. All right. Contestants should attend the contestants briefing, test their technology, including audio and camera setup with the contest chair. Once technology has been tested and the speaking area marked, it is recommended that contestants not move technology, lighting or any markers until after the contest. All right. Once it's approved, don't do any kind of testing, I would say. All right. That's very important. Next comes the camera. For all online speech contests, provide each contestant with an opportunity to practice with the equipment at the contestants' briefing and work with them on any necessary adjustments. During the briefing, make sure that everybody gets a chance to work on their camera and their audio. So make sure that all this is done at least 1 hour prior to the contest beginning. Well, the camera equipment should be eye level with the speaker if possible. If you're standing, make sure that the camera is at eye level, high level. Don't make sure that you're looking down at the camera and speaking. Let it be at eye level. It gives you a better effect. All right. Ensure the camera is mounted or secured to prevent movement during the speech. Don't keep it against a wall. It might slip off. And so will your chances of winning slip off. Avoid having someone hold the camera, as this can cause unwanted movement. For the sake of online contests, consider looking at the webcam as eye contact. Keep looking at the webcam and then speaking. Right. Ensure the contestants and judges are briefed on eye contact expectations. When the contestant is speaking, all other participants should mute their microphone and turn off their cameras, except for the current speaker and the timer. Please do this, because sometimes the bandwidth can be low and the meeting can take a toss. So apart from this contestant who's on the stage as well as the timer, rest all of you, please mute yourselves. Make sure that your cameras are off, and also make sure that the contest is locked. Nobody walks inside and sends a message, "Hi everybody." All right, make sure you do that. Further on, when setting a standard speaking area for all contestants, ensure to maximize the view of the contestants without sacrificing audio quality. It means that if you keep your camera to an extent and move back, it should make sure that your microphone reaches you along with the system. And in case you're using only the system's microphone to pick up your voice, make sure that you don't go too far. Be at least maximum within 3 meters of your camera, so that you get a good image quality, voice quality, as well as a good picturization of yours on the video for all of us to see, as well as the judges to mark their ballots. If using tethered microphone, make sure cord is long enough. If you're using a microphone with a wire, make sure the wire is long enough. Don't keep it at the edge as if a horse is pulling a chariot or a cart. So make it a little loose. All right. All contestants must stay within 3 feet of their camera. That is the ideal distance. So keep your camera, measure the distance, and stand 3 feet from the camera. Right? And also, don't wait for the last moment or 1 hour before the contest to come and check all this. Keep practicing the same way. Because once you are a master in that, then the contest becomes easier for you. All right. As they say, Victory is all about 99% perspiration off stage and 1% enjoying on stage. Make sure that you do that. Then comes to the lighting tip. Have the main source of light coming from behind the camera so as to eliminate the speaker's face and body. Okay, don't keep a light behind. I've seen a lot of times Toastmasters, especially during the club meetings, they keep light behind. The tube light will be burning and the tube light will be hitting onto the camera. It will be like a big fire behind the speaker's back, and which will kill the speech totally. Alright, so make sure that all light is coming from the front and not from the back. If relying on natural light, practice at the same time of the day as contest will be held. Alright, don't practice in the morning, and if for fag into the evening your contest is held and the light fades, then you have an issue. Alright. If the contestant's face is shadowed, have them fix a light in front of them and behind the camera. Have a light here, have a light behind the camera. Alright. Ensure that no light source are pointing directly at the camera. Something from the back, making sure that it's not projected right into the front of the camera. So make sure that it happens. Alright. Gestures and movements. Contestants kindly do planned movements and gestures during the contestant briefing to ensure they will remain in the frame. So when you're doing a contestant briefing, when your camera is on, make sure that your gestures are within the framework. Otherwise, what will happen is, if you don't practice this, like for example, my hand will go beyond the camera. So make sure that your gestures are within the camera and the framework. So mark yourself well on stage. Keep your camera and see how much you can stretch and mark yourself well on stage. You can use tapes so that you stand inside that and then give your speech so that you don't miss out of the camera frame. Right? That's important. Coming to sound, have contestants set up their technology in a space that reduces echo and background noise as much as possible. So go to a place where it is secluded, no noise, where the hall does not echo while you're speaking. That's what I'm trying to say here. It is recommended that contestants avoid using a mobile device as a primary source. Because I always believe that in an online contest, it's always good to log in with two devices. Let your secondary source be your mobile. Don't keep that as a primary source. All right. So very important, use your laptop. If you have another laptop, fantastic. Log in from both the sources and be ready. In case one fails, the other one is open. If a contestant will be using if a contestant is using a mobile device, have them practice to ensure that their device is set up to capture the best possible image and they are able to see the timer. Most of the times I have found that when they use their mobile devices, they look for the timer which they're not able to find. But in a laptop, it's very easy to ping the video of the timer and keep him at your vicinity. And one more thing is, I would suggest you to do is, as contestants, also kindly maintain a stopwatch of yours. When you're going to start your speech, click onto it. Even if it elapses 5 seconds, 6 seconds, it's okay. But start your speech. At least if you can't suddenly see the timer, you can at least know that you are well within time or you're going to exceed the time by looking at your mobile phone timer device. So please maintain your timing device individually for extra help. If it's an in-person contest, you don't have to worry because they will be right in front of you and lifting it up. So please follow this. Have an alternate source of timing device which will help you not to overshoot time or fall below time. Judges and ballot counters. When submitting the judge's guide and ballot, please ensure that the judges have included a signature. They may take a photo of their signature and enter it on the ballot. They may use a stylus on their device to sign the ballot. They may use a digital signature on a fillable version of the ballot. In case all this is not available, at least type your name on both sides. Where your name is to be printed, type your name. In your signature column also, please type your name. Don't give it blankly. I could not sign, so I sent it blank. Type it. Alright. The timing procedure. Timer 1, there will be 2 timers for the contest. Timer 1 uses a stopwatch to time each speaker and is considered the official timekeeper of the contest. They report speech times on the timing record sheet. Timer 2 uses a stopwatch to time each speech in order to operate the signaling device. Alright, so what does this mean is very simple. The first Timer 1 will time the speech and enter the speech time taken by every contestant. Timer 2 will have a timing device only for signaling the green, amber and red. But also advisable if that particular person can write down or note down the time taken by each contestant. Alright. If either the signaling device or the stopwatch fails, this means the contestant receives 30 seconds extra overtime before being disqualified. If either timer loses connection partway through the contest, this also means the affected contestant receives an extra 30 seconds. So make sure that in an online contest you have at least 2 plus 1 timer. Have 3 timers, I would say. Though only suggested 2, that is in person, but since it's an online, have 3 timers. In case 2 people walk out, there will be 1 person who's timing, and that timing sheet you get. Alright, I'll leave it to you, but it is with my experience telling you, always have 3 timers. If all 3 timers have to fall off because of internet problem, then I don't know what else to say. Ensure that Timer 2 with the signaling device is clearly visible to the contestants all the time. Okay, so pin the timer's video. Contestant speakers, make sure that once you're on stage, you're pinning the video of the timer. Plus, you also maintain your time. In case sometimes in a hurry or in tension, you might not do it, but make sure you have a time and you know where you're standing. All right. Invite the timers to the contestants' briefing to find a solution that works for all the contestants. Their webcam shall be on the entire time so that they can provide timing cues to the contestant. Recently, in my club, there was one Toastmaster who spoke very well, but she suddenly found that she had exceeded the time by 9 seconds, 7 minutes and 39 seconds. Why? Because she forgot to ping the timer, the video of the timer. So make sure that it does not happen to you people, please. All right, that goes on. Coming to the audience, at the start of the contest, remind audience members that they must keep their webcams turned off and microphones muted at all times. Webcams can slow down the internet bandwidth and distract from a clear view of contestants. I know every person wants to look good in the video camera, but in the interest of the contestants, make sure that your videos are switched off as well as your audio is muted. While verbal reactions, laughter, etc. from audience members are often welcome in a speech contest, microphones in an online speech contest setting will also pick up distracting background noises, so keep it always muted. You might be silent when the microphone is unmuted, but maybe a truck which is passing by a house or your family members are having a conversation that can add a hindrance to the contestant. All right. Ensure that the meeting moderator is able to mute attendees. Very important. That is a Zoom master or any virtual platform master. Have the moderator monitor attendee audio and ensure everyone remains muted. If you have meeting chat turned on, set expectations for how you expect this to be used. For example, you may ask the audience members only to use chat to indicate technical issues. All right. So you can set expectations. I would suggest that in a contest, make sure that the chat is nullified. And contest officials and other members can have an allied outside chat in a WhatsApp group. Coming to awards, deliver awards at the end of the contest. Have the meeting moderator screen share certificates with the winning contestants' names entered. If you choose this method, be prepared to fill time while the results are being tabulated. Either pause the contest and end the online meeting after the final contestant has spoken, then restart the meeting and reconvene when results have been determined. Or conduct contestants' interviews to fill in time before the results have been determined by the chief judge. Now, after the contest, ensure that all contest officials delete digital files that include information about scoring, contest results, or judging notes. All right. So this is very important. Please pay heed. Ensure that all contest officials delete digital files, etc., etc. All right. It's very important. Now, coming to evaluation contests. While conducting an evaluation contest, arrange a method for contestants to leave the main meeting room to an online location where they can be monitored until it is their turn to speak on stage. Some online platforms will allow you to set up breakout rooms. Zoom is a good example. In this instance, all contestants could be moved from the main meeting room to a breakout room. If there are 5 contestants, except the first contestant who's going to speak, rest of the 4 contestants can be moved into the breakout room and placed till their chance comes on to come to the main room to speak. Right. Alternatively, you could set up a separate meeting link for contestants to join in. Contestants would sign out of the main meeting room, join the secondary meeting, and then rejoin the main meeting when invited to do so. In either instance, a sergeant-at-arms should be present in the contestant room to monitor the contestants and ensure they know when to return. All right. The last one is very important. A sergeant-at-arms should be present in the breakout room to make sure that the contestant is sitting silent, is not adding on to their evaluation note sheet or using an electronic device to enhance their evaluation contest. When contestants are invited back, they should enable their microphone and camera. Then say, as I said, ready, indicating that the equipment is working. All right. For example, if I am in the breakout room and I am called on to speak as a third speaker evaluator, I walk inside to the main room, I on my camera, I unmute myself and I say, ready. That is not the beginning of my timing. The time begins only after the contest or the contest master introduces me by saying, contestant number 1, Rajiv Nambiar, or contestant number 5, Rajiv Nambiar, contestant number 5. And then if I say ready again, timer should start. Okay. This does not count as a start of their time, as I told you. Also make sure that the contestants' hands are visible in the frame of the camera, so that they're only holding the sheet, not any electronic equipment. Okay. This will allow you to confirm that they are not using any device which will give them an undue advantage over the others during the contest. So best 3 meters back, the entire body can be seen. All right, so make sure that happens. In an evaluation speech contest, the test speaker is very important. He or she shall rename themselves as test speaker. They shall not. If I am the test speaker, I should not go and write Rajiv Nambiar, test speaker. If I am the test speaker, I will just rename myself as test speaker, and I should keep my cameras off and audios muted until I am called on to deliver the test speech by the contest chair. When I'm introduced by the contest chair as a test speaker, when they say the test speaker today is Rajiv Nambiar, I will on my camera, I'll unmute myself, I will say ready, and then I will start. Alright, so that is how the evaluation speech test speaker has to go about it. Well, these are the few good practices which I believe, when applied in toto, would make the upcoming online speech contest a grand success. So kindly go through the video a couple of times to get a thorough understanding of what is required from your end to handle the contest efficiently on the virtual platform. Also, please do get in touch if you do require any sort of clarification or if you have any suggestions to provide, which I have left out in this video, which will enhance the efficiency while conducting the online speech contest. Well, I would like to end this session by saying happy contesting Toastmasters and all the very best. Thank you and Jai Hind.